got our usual assortment: Cast Down, Chemist's Insight, Absorb.
Yeah. Chris Hall decides that he's going to mulligan. So,
Draw.
yeah.
Yeah, mulligan on turn 1, if you're on the draw, isn't necessarily as bad as it would be if you were straight on the play in terms of card disadvantage. As he does get the draw to make up for the loss in card, and he will get to scry.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty decent hand to open with. At turn 1, Llanowar Elves.
Yeah, alright.
So
we are ready to begin.
are the players ready?
Interesting point of note, they are using the same color sleeves.
Yeah, this will become... Oh, and they started.
Dragon Shield Petrol. Yeah. Okay, Watery Grave and then Breeding Pool into Llanowar Elves. Looks like we're off to a quick start here.
Yep.
Double untapped Shockland into Cast Down.
Wow.
Yeah,
you guys still have Eggers?
Yep.
Okay, so finally got Chris Hawes' deck list in front of us.
Yeah, it looks like he's got Merfolk Branchwalker on the table now. Gets the Explore trigger off of it. Okay, we got 2 mana coming down for Thought Erasure.
Yep. Ooh, hostage.
Double Vivian Reed.
And a hostage taker.
Yeah. Ooh, that's looking pretty nasty.
Hostage taker against Edgar isn't necessarily the greatest.
And we have a Wild Growth Walker. Oh no, that's the Krasis. Haha. Okay. Yeah, so this list looks much more, I guess, conventional. We've got at least 1 Assassin's Trophy
Yep.
main deck, and it looks like 4 Hydroid Krasis. This is going to be a fun match to watch. We've got like a very, very strong selection of creatures and spells on one side. Very, very powerful control suite on the other.
Yeah, this is definitely the match, especially since this looks like it's going to determine who makes it to the top 8.
And they both might. All right, we get the Crisis down for 2.
Yep.
Gains 1 life and draws a card off of it.
And swings. Looks like Edgar's kind of...
Yep, he goes for the Chemist's Insight end step. Oh, that Insight is so strong.
Yeah. But did he draw what he needed?
Good question. He goes for the untapped Watery Grave. It's probably a safe bet that...
Tapped Watery Grave.
Oh yeah, tapped Watery Grave. It's probably a safe bet that he's in a good position right now if he didn't feel like the need to urgently untap.
True. And Chris
Vivian Reed?
Into Absorb.
Yeah. Yeah, he just that kind of walked right onto the table there. But, I mean, it's...
The thing is, though, is that Edgar has to come up with an answer for these little guys.
Yeah, he throws down Kaya's Wrath, takes down the Ranger and the Krasis. Okay.
Yep.
Gotta love those board wipes. Alright, we get Wild Growth Walker.
And
Chris trying to keep up the pressure on the board state.
Fortunately, Chris only has 3 Vivian Reeds, so he's looking to draw 1 at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know if Vivian will be enough to carry the game by herself. Like,
no.
There's enough inevitability. Like, there's enough threat density in Sultai, especially with Krasis having just landed 4 this time.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Sultai to keep things going for...
and he jumpstarts his Chemist's Insight.
The Chemist's Insight. Jumpstart, getting a Search for Azcanta off the draw. But is it enough? Throws down a second Kaya's Wrath.
Yep.
Which takes care of the field. And he drops Search.
Yep. And plays a Hollow Fountain tapped.
Yeah. Alright, so far Edgar has this game in control. So far.
Yep. Branchwalker.
Yep. Gets the Explore trigger.
Yep.
Puts down Woodland Symmetry. Looks like Edgar has a decision to make. Okay.
So he bends it to get his...
Search for Escanta.
Yeah, that's that extra card advantage there.
Yeah, Escanta. Escanta gives you a little mini impulse on activation. 3 mana, but you have to reveal an instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for this.
I think one of the things right now is that Edgar took a lot of damage really quickly early game.
Yeah, but I mean,
he does have to try and make up for that, because with the amount of pressure that Chris can put on him with his creatures.
And it looks like Chris just found his 2 Crasises.
Yeah.
There is a lot of pressure on Edgar at the moment.
Yeah. Well, he does have another Kaya's Wrath.
Yeah. So what it's going to come down to is timing at this point.
Yeah.
Because Wrath cards are only ever really good when your opponent overextends.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get him like slow rolling to the point where it's too late to make a difference here.
Well, Chris made the right choice in playing just the 1.
I mean, when you want to tap out for it, of course.
The thing is, too, though, is that this means that he can swing in for close. Yep. Oh.
Okay. Cast down. That was a solid play, right?
Yep.
Right off the top for Edgar there. All right.
And it looks like he's gonna try and drop his Teferi.
Separating his lands out. Calculating mana costs. 5, and here comes the Hero of Dominaria. Gets the card draw.
Yep.
Another search for Escanta, sitting in hand. Untaps the 2 lands and tells his opponent to go.
Yep. Chris now has to...
So whatever Edgar hasn't been able to keep under control with counter spells, he's mostly been using board wipes and removal to address.
Yep.
And it looks like Chris taps out for another Krasis. Just gaining tons of life off of these repeat plays.
And some card advantage, too.
Yeah. Well, it's like a mini Sphinx's Revelation every time you cast one, right?
Yeah, it's just that extra...
It's just that extra push.
Yeah. And on top of that as well, he does have a creature to put a lot of pressure onto.
Yep. Okay, Mortify to meet the Krasis.
Yeah. The one thing is as well, though, is that Teferi only ticks up by 1 each turn.
Yeah, so when he's taking damage, that's not pushing him any closer to that ultimate, but honestly, it might just be the card draw that closes the game. Here we get our mini impulse off of Search for Escanta. Decision to make here.
He has a...
Takes the negate.
Yep. It's a bit surprising. He had two absorbs and a Vraska's Contempt on top.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, the absorb hasn't really been doing much in way of work.
Yeah, well, I don't know, though, because he's at 7, so he could give himself.
I mean, the life doesn't really matter at this point, mostly because unless Chris can play a large creature and make it stick, there's no way for him to fully close the gap. Let's see here.
And he drops another. Oop.
And here comes the Explore trigger.
This is, that can be a little bit more problematic, because he can answer Teferi faster.
Oh, and here comes Hostage Taker.
Yeah, that's gonna... And he takes his own creature.
Yeah.
So you get the Explore. That extra card advantage.
Yeah.
So...
Taking your own stuff hostage to get extra cards, huh?
Yep.
Alright, Search for Escanta. It's given some options here. We've got Mortify, we've got Teferi, Well, Teferi's not an option here. It's got to be an instant or sorcery.
Yeah, so...
Chemistry's Insight.
And a land. So he has a choice between Chemistry's Insight and a Mortify.
Clearly takes the Mortify, the sensible choice.
Yeah. And he casts a Chemister's...
Insight end step. Untaps after drawing a bunch of cards.
So we're just 12 minutes into a match, and it seems like things are going pretty...
It seems like Chris had a lot of momentum to start early on in the match, but he's having trouble just closing the gap now. Bringing this particular game to its end, it looks like Edgar has a fair bit of control. He's making the game go at the pace he dictates at the moment. And he throws down a Wrath to empty the board.
Yeah, so that sets Chris back again.
Yeah. And with enough mana kept up, untapped, it looks like he might be able to block out any more attempts at intrusion by Chris.
Yep.
So he goes to untap.
He's sitting on a Absorb in hand.
Yep. Time Lord Teferi at it again.
Yeah, it's been an interesting... Land of War Elves.
Yep, Mana Dork. Looks like Chris is going to try to play this out slowly. Escalating the number and the severity of threats. Ravenous Chupacabra coming down. No target to aim at, so it's just playing it for the body at this point.
And Edgar decides to end step Impulse.
Takes the cast down. As one inevitably does.
Yeah, and he casts down.
Oh,
Ooh.
met with a response. Vraska's
Yeah.
Contempt takes out Teferi, which...
It looks like Chris was sitting on that for a while, and he was hoping to put Edgar in a position where he had to tap out for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't really say much because by this time Edgar's drawn so many cards, it was inevitable that he would have a second Teferi
Yeah.
in hand. And now he's just sitting on negates and absorbs. He's got Wraths and Mortifies. He is quite capable of dealing with whatever gets thrown at him at the moment, especially with that much land untapped.
Yeah. Chris is really playing a lot of catch-up right now. It seems like he's decided to take to swinging at Edgar directly,
Yep.
as opposed to trying to stave off Teferi Ultimate.
Thought Erasure going into hand. End step.
Yep. That's also the tricky part right now with Edgar. As you saw, he was counting how many cards he had in his deck. All this card advantage, and if he's not able to ultimate Teferi
I mean,
early enough, he kind of does run the risk of drawing himself out.
yeah.
And I think that's Chris's advantage right now, is that he's applying enough pressure to avoid Edgar taking it with Teferi. And that makes Edgar's play right now really difficult to manage.
Oh, yeah.
As we saw off the last Impulse-ish thing, the search for his Kanta.
As Kanta, the Sunken Ruin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He only looked at the top. He looked at the top four, and they were all lands. So,
Yeah, it's getting to a point where the deck's starting to wear a bit thin here. So he's got to close it, and he's got to close it quick, or else
yeah, and that's
Chris might be able to outlast him at this point.
yeah.
Drawing all the extra cards in the world might not be enough.
I think that was also part of Edgar's issue, especially is that he went through a lot of his Kaya's Wrath.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like they decided. Oh, that was unfortunate. I was kind of
Yeah, it looks like we've had a scoop.
hoping for
So, yeah.
Chris
Chris
to win that, but
Yeah, it looks like he just couldn't break through that wall.
Yeah.
And with Teferi very nearly hitting his ultimate, it just wasn't there. The momentum got lost. So we are now going into game 2 of round 5. This is the final Swiss round before we begin the cut to top 8. You are currently watching the Harry Tarantula Challenge Series for the StarCityGames.com Invitational Qualifier. You can visit our website at harryt.com and the web store at harryt.crystalcommerce.com.
I'm kind of interested to see what Chris boards in. Looking at his sideboard right now, he has 1 additional Hostage Taker, 2 Moment of Craving, 2 Thrashing Brontodon, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Negates, 4 Duress, and 2 Playcrafters. Fairly certain he might actually choose the Negates.
Looks like we have commentary from our Twitch channel.
That was a punt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, but I guess that was a punt. Well, I guess we'll see how things go from here.
Chris might have...
So shout out to all of our viewers on Twitch at the moment who are watching this match. We'd like to thank you for your support and for your time.
Yeah, let's see how these guys decide to sideboard. Looks like there's some tough decisions for both sides to make on this. Chris is really thinking it through right now. Very obviously, he decided that the Chupacabra wasn't really something to keep, because Edgar has 0 creatures in his deck. So, Edgar, on the other hand, let's see what he could have brought in. Well, he does have 1 Lyra Dawnbreaker in his sideboard.
Yeah, Lyra Dawnbringer.
Yeah, so I don't know. That might give him a slight bit of advantage if Chris decides that removal is pointless in his deck. Yeah. Looks like they're shuffling up now. Chris
Getting ready for game 2.
Chris is on the play. We'll see how this pans out for them.
This is how we play Magic in Toronto. We punt.
Yeah. It's,
Nah. Yeah, so be interesting to see where we go from here. Edgar is actually playing on stream for the 2nd time today. His first matchup was a mirror match against Paolo Bueno, who was playing the Esper control deck as well. That match went pretty quickly as one of them planted Teferi and just won. And we've started the opening turns. Overgrown Tomb, Watery Grave. Lots of mausoleum type places here.
underground mausoleums.
Yeah, Drowned Catacomb.
Very under... Wow. A lot of dead.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Edgar is deciding what to do for his turn 2. Yep, he plays a Hallowed
Fountain tapped.
Yeah. It's kind of tricky because you do, but you don't want to. There's that temptation to play it untapped because you think the player's going to play something the next turn that you might be able to counter.
I mean, just doing the calculations at this point, I don't think there was, really any reason to speed out into untapped. Oh, Brontodon.
Yeah. Thing is that Chris has a fairly aggressive...
I mean, Chris has a fairly aggressive deck, yes, but...
So...
I mean, taking some damage in the early turns when you're the control player doesn't matter as much.
So, swings in with the Brontodon. And plays a Merfolk.
Yeah.
Got the
right into an Absorb.
Ooh. And negate.
Yeah, so Merfolk Branch Walker is now entered the battlefield, and we've got the Explore trigger binning another Merfolk Branch Walker.
Yep.
Alright, land 4, Isolated Chapel coming down onto the battlefield.
This is, Chris does have the board state right now.
Cast down, coming down for a Thrashing Brontodon. Let's see what we get there. Oh boy, it's Jade Light Ranger.
Yeah. Bins a duress.
Explore 2 gets one of them into the +1/+1 counter.
Swings in for 3.
Yeah.
This is...
And how's it going to go from here? Are we going to get... Alright, throws down Search.
Now, I think Chris is just trying...
Drops the Watery Grave. So he managed to play right past Negate. And here comes the Merfolk for more damage.
Yeah. What was that? 5? 6.
Yes.
And another.
Jade Light Ranger gets the double Explore. Leaves Vivian on top.
Yeah. So
There is a lot of pressure building up from Chris's side of the board here.
yeah, this is very different than the game we just watched.
Kaya's Wrath. Yeah.
Yeah, that's... And a negate. And a negate.
Yeah. This was sort of the expected result at this point. Like, there's going to be lots of efficient counter magic coming out.
Yep.
Ooh, Vivian Reed and just blows up Search.
It's pretty good. And Teferi.
Yeah. So we've got Nature Archer versus Time Wizard.
Now this is the expected choice.
Yeah, it just sends Vivian Reed forward through time. Down to the 3rd spot in the library.
And now we're on to Chris.
Alright, untaps. Let's see what he throws down.
Yep, Vraska's Contempt.
Yep.
So it looks like they're sort of answering each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth going on at the moment.
Chris taking out the Search for Azcanta was probably like a key point right now because that really limits Edgar's card advantage.
Speaking of limits, it's very clear that one of them has the hand going on here. And we've got...
Well, they both have 2.
oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it was just... Chris has been benefiting from actually actively limiting Edgar's options. And now he's pretty much has the answer.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Edgar's looking to draw. Nope, didn't get what he was looking for.
Wow, that the pressure came on quick.
Yeah, Chris.
There was a Carnage turn in there.
Yeah, Chris. Chris really played that one well, actually. I think hitting that Azcanta was...
Yeah, also having the negate ready to deal with Edgar's Absorb was probably a pretty solid play there.
Yeah, it's the tricky thing with that I think Edgar's up against is the fact that there's a lot of aggression coming from Chris's side.
Yeah, so it's kind of got him... Like, it looked like he had things in control and was dictating the pace of the game early on, but yeah, once the pressure really started to build and those Jade Light Rangers came down, and it was just double Explore triggers and just getting so much land and so many +1/+1 counters, it was just...
Yeah.
too much to handle. And it's really hard to come back from a position like that. Even if you followed up with a Wrath on the board, and then your opponent's just like, Carnage Tyrant?
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of good dedicated answers to dealing with something like that.
Yeah. So this is a pretty evenly matched, I think. It very well swings It's a match that you tend to see favorites come into play pretty early on, and it's difficult to see. Sometimes there's a quick turnaround, but right now it just looks like...
Okay, it looks like we got Teferi, Thought Erasure, and 4 lands. Is that 2 Teferis? Yes, it is.
Wow.
And on the other side, we've got a host of creatures and some lands. We go right into Watery Grave, into Overgrown Tomb. And here comes the Duress.
Ooh. Wow.
So is he going to take the Thought Erasure, or is he going to kill one of them Planeswalkers?
I think
Yeah.
that would be the better choice.
Yeah, he's just going to remove his ability to interfere with the opponent's plans. Hallowed Fountain comes down. Woodland Cemetery into Merfolk Branchwalker, gets the Explore trigger.
Yep. Ooh, untapped.
Thief of Sanity, here we go.
Wow. Was Chris expecting that? I don't know.
I don't think so, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Thief of Sanity, if left unchecked, can really make a mess of someone's day.
Yep.
Here comes Jade Light Ranger.
Yep. Bins the
Brontodon.
And
the Disdainful Stroke.
Yep.
So we are now with 2+1/+1 counters.
I think right now Chris does have a Hostage Taker in hand.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That could be problematic.
Yeah. So
If, unless Edgar can ensure that he can land a counter.
well, the thing is right now is he has a land in hand. Does he play it and tap out? Nope.
Just goes for the Jade Light Ranger, gets the double Explore.
Yep.
Plays the Godless Shrine.
Yeah, so very obviously doesn't have the counter in hand, I think.
Hostage Taker could mess things up for Edgar.
It's a question if Chris feels confident enough to play it.
Yeah, if he knows that he can do it. First he'll fish for an attack.
4.
Yeah, feeding Ranger to Branchwalker. Here comes Llanowar Elves. And a Forced. Okay, so
I think.
Thief of Sanity hits again.
Yep. And does he tap out to play it?
Well, I mean, it's still Edgar's turn. But yeah, is he gonna play the Teferi?
Yeah.
He's considering it, mulling it over.
Oh, and he passed.
Okay.
Wow.
It's probably not time yet. With so many negates and disdainful strokes coming around,
Yeah.
it's probably not a safe bet at the moment.
I think
Okay. So they're going in for the attack.
Chris has a pretty good advantage right now because he can just sort of sit on it. He basically waits for Edgar to play something.
Ooh, Contempt into Jade Light Ranger.
Yep. And
Fishing for the counter. Does Chris even have the counter?
I can't.
Oh, he's got a disdainful stroke.
Yeah, he's gonna let that slide because
Yeah.
I would think that would be the best choice
Yeah, no.
right now because
If he's got stroke up and Edgar decides to plant a Teferi, then he's going to want that response on hand.
yeah, that's the thing too. If Edgar does play Teferi and he does disdainful stroke, he can just almost guarantee that his oh, hello. What are we?
That is a Carnage Tyrant.
Wow.
Cast from exile using Thief of Sanity.
Yeah, that's
Edgar just gained a huge boost of momentum there.
Yeah. It's surprising Edgar's turning this into a aggro on his side.
Well, I don't know if it's aggro per se. It's more just like using the opponent's good cards against him.
Yeah.
And we've got a Crisis for 4. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards.
Yep. That's... Now here's the thing, because Edgar does have the opportunity to play his Teferi, which very obviously it looks like he does.
Yep.
Does the -3 and swings in.
Yep.
Which is, with Thief of Sanity, pretty gross.
Yeah, that swings the momentum back in Edgar's favor, leaving Chris at 5. Yeah. And Llanowar Elf kills Teferi.
Yep.
I'm sure I read that in one of the novels somewhere. Let's see.
Ooh, wow, so... This is a tough choice for Chris to play with here. Because he does have the 2 lands up. How does he... Oh, and it looks like he's going to play...
Jade Light Ranger.
Huh.
Yep. Gets the Explore trigger. Gets the second Explore trigger.
Yep. And that's kind of a tricky spot to be in, because I think he just drew 2 shocks.
Yep.
Does he play it untapped and try and win? Oh.
Nope. Yep, it looks like Chris has decided to concede the game. Yeah, there was just no way to catch up to that Tyrant. Being played off the top using Thief of Sanity, one of those niche, really dangerous cards that you just can't afford to ignore.
I think he didn't make the proper choice there, though. Because he was sitting on that hostage taker for quite a while.
Oh, Chris? Well, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have mattered at that point because Carnage Tyrant has hexproof.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking of the Carnage Tyrant. The problem with the...
Oh, Thief of Sanity. You mean.
Yeah, the problem was is that it just turned out to be half bad luck there, though, because Chris is only running 1 Carnage Tyrant in his deck, so Edgar really
got lucky on that Thief of Sanity trigger.
Yeah, so I would surmise that, you know, Chris probably could have done better if he actually tried to get that Thief of Sanity on his side or removed it, but I didn't see any removal from him.
Yep.
In his hand that game, and it looked like if he had played the hostage taker, he probably